Hey guys, it's Nailbiter, and this is a replay I had with the Lorraine 40t on Winterberg. This is actually a somewhat old replay. It was one of the first few games I played with the Lorraine, but I wanted to post it because I think it's a pretty good example of solid autoloader play, particularly for a game like this where I'm bottom tier, which in these kinds of matchups, you generally have to be more patient and more careful than you might otherwise. I've actually really enjoyed playing the Lorraine. It's one of the few tier 8s that I like playing, despite the awful matchmaking that tier 8s tend to get. Because even though this version of the Lorraine only gets 4 shots in a clip as opposed to the 6 it used to have back when it was still a part of the French tech tree, the clip reload is only about 30 seconds, which gives you a lot more flexibility because you don't have as much downtime between clips. And on top of that, it's great for making credits because the base pin on the gun is high enough that I've rarely felt like I need to shoot premium rounds out of it. So it's really all around a great premium tank and a lot of fun to play. Anyway, from the northern spawn on Winterberg, whenever I'm playing a med, I almost always go field and try to get to the ridge along the E-line as soon as I can because the northern spawn has a huge advantage getting to this ridge compared to the southern spawn. So a lot of time if you're playing a fast tank, you can spot enemy tanks completely out of position before they're able to make it up into the little village in the east of the map and potentially get some early shots of. So that's what you'll see me do here. Even though this is a tier 10 game, there's no artillery, which means that I can be kind of aggressive in peeking this ridge and I don't have to worry as much about getting lit because I can just back up and break line of sight and I'll be safe. And on top of that, the enemy team only has 1 medium tank and 2 light tanks. So I'm expecting that especially early in the game, there won't be many tanks that try to contest this eastern area of the map, kind of in the little village area. So the Foch 155 got lit heading toward the 0 line, and there's a T49 lit in F9, but otherwise nothing really got lit for me to shoot at. So I'm going to shift my attention toward the city. A lot of times, about a minute or so after the start of the game, you'll see heavy tanks try to cross from G2 toward F2 or E2, and especially if someone on your team is spotting that area like the Wheezy is on my team right now, you get great side shots from the position I'm in. So I was pre-aimed toward F2, and I think the Wheezy actually tracked that Conqueror, so I was able to empty my entire clip into his side and pick up an early 1200 damage. So now I'm on reload, and the Foch 155 is actually being kind of aggressive along the 0 line. I was sort of expecting him to just camp, and obviously there's nothing I can do while I'm on reload, but we have enough tanks here that I'm not worried about this flank getting completely overrun while I'm still reloading. So I'm just keeping an eye on the Foch and hoping that once I reload I'll be able to get some side shots into him. And he's actually taking a lot of damage and decides to move up out in the open, so I peek out as soon as I'm reloaded and put 1 shot into his side. I wasn't totally sure there if he was on reload or not though, so I backed off since he was turning toward me, and I sneak a shot into that T49. Now the Foch is a 1-shot for me, so I decided I'm going to wait until I'm unlit and then peek out again. And at first I was aiming here for the weak one on top of his tank, but the RHM on my team decides to try to circle the Foch, which gives me an easy side shot for the kill. I did have 1 more shot in my clip there, but I didn't think I was going to get any opportunities to take that last shot, so I pretty quickly decided to go back on reload again, especially since I took a hit there from the enemy RHM back in K9. I didn't want to risk taking any more damage, so I just backed off and went on reload, which is something I'll do a lot with autoloaders, especially a tank like the Lorraine that has a relatively short inner clip time. Is if I only have a single shot left in my clip, I'll often just reload and stay safe instead of taking the time to try to find a way to get that last shot off. Generally, I find that unless I see an immediate chance to take that last shot, it's not worth waiting on reloading, and it's not worth potentially losing more HP just to get that 1 shot off. So I finished my reload, and I'm carefully peeking to see if anything the enemy had on the 0 line is starting to move up. My team has control of that middle alley along the E line and F line, so I'm not worried about anything shooting me from that area. Now, I see the enemy RHM that got lit back in K9 is moving up toward F9 or so, and it looks like he's going to cross this gap in the building, so I pre-aim and put a shot into his side. He actually stops between the 2 buildings for some reason, so I'm able to get a second shot into him as well. And then I back up and re-peek the corner, and he peeks again for some reason. I think maybe he thought that I was on reload or something. But I'm able to get a 3rd shot into him without taking any hits myself, so obviously a really good trade for me. And I decided there again, even though I had the 1 shot left in my clip, to just back off because I didn't feel like peeking out again was worth it. There was too much chance that I would take some damage if I looked to try to get that final shot off. Now, looking at the minimap, I saw that the enemy T-49 and one of the AMX 48s had been lit on the 6th line, so I decided to change my position. I kind of felt like I've been playing the same spot for most of the first few minutes of this game, and I didn't want to be too predictable. So I went toward the 6th line to see if I had any shots there, but the AMX 48 gets lit heading back toward the Sydney, and I don't light anything else when I peek, so I'm just going to return back toward the 9 line. For some reason, the enemy RHM decides to push up the 0 line and stops in E0, so he's totally exposed, and I'm able to get an easy kill shot into him. I actually don't even think I got lit there. Now it looks like the enemy team is pushing in the city, and I'm thinking that we're probably going to lose control of the city, so I decide I need to start forcing the issue here in the east of the map. So I move up across the E line, and I catch this Waffle out of position, and he reacts really slowly to being shot, so I'm able to empty the rest of my clip into him without him shooting back at me at all. And now I'm back on reload. I wanted to back off more here and adjust my positioning, but I saw that the Waffle had the 15cm gun, and obviously I didn't want to give him a chance to get a shot on me. So even though I'm a little exposed to the city, especially since the enemy team has control of the area around F2, I decided to just hide from the Waffle and wait to go dark before I move again. Now, the RHM on my team gets tracked and killed by the Waffle before I can reload and help him out. But the Waffle gets killed, so since the Scorpion is the last tank left on this flank, and I know he's a one-shot, I just push in and finish him off. And now I can turn my attention toward the city, since we've cleared out everything the enemy has on the east of the map. There is an enemy AMX 48 that hasn't been lit yet, but I'm thinking that since I didn't get shot at by anything when I was pushing to kill the Scorpion, that he's probably either AFK or he's just camping somewhere in the southwest of the map in the city. Now, I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here as I relocate to the north, but at this point, I still have a pretty good amount of HP left, and I know based on the hit points of the remaining enemy tanks that I can kill each of them with 1 clip or less. So I decide I'm going to head toward the north and try to flank around, and ideally I'll be able to isolate one of the enemy tanks and take advantage of my autoloader so that I can quickly take them out without losing too much of my HP. The one thing I'm not sure about is if the T-49 has the derp gun, then it's possible he could pen me and kill me, or at least cripple me, so I want to be careful about him. So I reach this corner at D3 and I slowly peek toward the middle, and the IS-3 is right where he was last spotted and clearly wasn't expecting someone to flank, so I'm able to put 2 shots into his side and take him out, which leaves me with 2 left in my clip. Now, I turn around to run away so I can safely reload, but I waited a moment there because I wasn't sure if once I got lit in the city and I'm kind of isolated from the rest of my team, if the T-49 or one of the AMXs might try to YOLO me. But since nothing happens after a few seconds, I back off and start to reload. But as it turns out, the T-49 actually gets lit in the middle, and since the T-49 was really the tank I was most worried about running into, once I see him get lit on the other side of the map, even though I'm only about halfway through my reload, I decided to turn around and start moving up again in the city because I'm thinking it's pretty unlikely that the 2 AMXs would be playing aggressively, especially since I know one of them only has about 300 hit points remaining. Now, even though I have a decent amount of HP left, I still want to be careful because playing a soft tank like the Lorraine, if you make a mistake or get caught out, it's easy to lose a lot of HP in a short span of time. So as I'm moving through the city, I'm trying to pre-aim to the different positions where I think one of the 2 AMXs might be. So I end up spotting the low HP AMX in H4, and I'm able to react faster than him, so I get 1 shot off for free. Unfortunately, it bounces, so I decide to just take my time with the second shot and make sure that it pens, and he does put 1 shot into me, but now with only the T-49 and the other AC-48 left, I'm pretty sure even if I die, my team should be able to win this. And I actually do the same thing here as I did before after I killed that IS-3, where I decided to wait a bit on reloading because I thought there was a chance again that the T-49 might try to YOLO me once I got lit. But once I peek the 3 line and don't spot anything, I decide to start my reload. And I'm pretty comfortable just sitting here because if the T-49 does happen to push me, which there I actually light him in G1, so it looks like maybe he was trying to chase after me a bit. But I'm in a position here where the TDs that were in the field should be able to support me if I did get pushed by something. But regardless, I don't think the T-49 knew there whether or not I was reloading, so once he saw me facing toward him, he turned around almost immediately, and he actually took a bit of a wild shot there, which based on that I know now that he's running the 90mm and not the derp gun. So I don't have to worry about potentially getting one shot, and I can just push in with the rest of my team and finish him off. So anyway, this replay is just about finished. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, I felt like this game is a pretty good example of solid autoloader play. I think I did a pretty good job in this game of conserving my hit points and not really taking any unnecessary hits, while still doing a decent amount of damage through the early and middle parts of the game, so that by the end of the game I had enough HP that I felt like I could be aggressive and make the plays that I needed to make to help my team win. I do think that one of the other things that helped me in this game was the fact that the game developed pretty slowly, because it meant that I was never in a situation where I was reloading and missing out on a chance to do damage. I had shots available pretty much every time there was an engagement, and in faster paced games that's not always the case, so I was really able to dictate the engagements in this game. Anyway, as it turns out, this last AMX was actually on the 0 line. I don't really know what he was doing the whole game. And I'm not sure what my teammates were doing, but I managed to get over there in time to get the final kill. So that's the end of the replay, and now I'll show you the post-game stats. I got an ace tanker for this game. I did about 6,400 damage and got 7 kills, and almost 1,900 base experience. So a really good game of the Lorraine. I was pretty happy with the way this one went. And hopefully you guys found the commentary interesting or helpful in some way. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.